One of the first questions that I'm frequently asked when I'm talking to someone about creating their 10-year goal is this: how do I start? I don't really have any idea what I would want my life to look like 10 years from now. I like my life right now. Those are really common responses. And here's really where the magic comes in. And it's not complicated. That's really the good news. It's curiosity and imagination. When we engage our curiosity and our imagination, suddenly the idea of thinking long term. I talk about a 10-year goal. It can work. The concept will work for a 3-year goal, a 5-year goal, really anywhere between 3 and 10 years. That concept will work. And again, remember, this is about a long-term goal. A long-term goal helps us calibrate to where we're headed. And it helps us, well, to be perfectly honest, not get too much focused on just getting through the day or the week or the month. Our view of our life takes on a much shorter time span unless we are intentional about having that longer view, the 10-year goal, or whatever length you want that feels right for you between 3 and 10 years. Curiosity and imagination. Curiosity is, this probably will sound familiar. Have you had a conversation recently with a young child? They are speaking, and whatever you say to them, their question back to you is why? And you answer that question, and then you get why? And after that question, you get another why. That is curiosity. We are born naturally with a tremendous amount of curiosity. Now, the other skill that will help us with our long-term goal is imagination. Imagination, a great example of imagination, again, is a young child. Give them a cardboard box, and how long can they entertain themselves with a cardboard box? That is imagination, seeing the possibilities. So curiosity, just being curious, gee, I wonder, what about, why this? And imagination, which is the ability to see possibilities into the future and to see new uses for things. Now, here's the good news. These are skills. Skills mean that we can improve skills. We all started with great curiosity and imagination. And unfortunately, over time, our curiosity and imagination tends to wane a bit. Now, part of this is around, well, it's things like we need to be realistic. Keep your feet on the ground. Get your head out of the clouds. And then there's just the reality of day to day. Our curiosity and our imagination are critical for living a full and rich life. And it does not matter. I am like many people, or I was like many people. My curiosity and imagination had faded away to a large part. Now, curiosity for me was easier. I always have asked a lot of questions. And yet the imagination part, somehow I had lost track of that. So here's the good news. Curiosity and imagination are great skills to have, and we all have the ability to strengthen our curiosity as well as our imagination. So here are a couple of ways to begin. For curiosity, one of the ways to spark our curiosity is to simply change our routine. Now, changing a routine really can be very simple. It could be finding a new way to get to work. How about a new recipe? Maybe like for me, I'm trying to get a little more curious about my wardrobe. So I've decided I'm going to look for a top that is different than what I would typically wear, to at least try it on. I may not keep it, but to try it on. So curiosity is simply changing our routine. We're going to try something new. It could be a new restaurant. It could be trying a movie that you typically don't prefer those types of movies. It could be a new genre of a book. So curiosity is really spiked by us introducing new things into our life, and they can be tiny. Remember, none of this requires large, sweeping, immediate changes in our life. So curiosity. Work on your curiosity a bit. Find a different route to work. Try a new recipe. Go to a new restaurant. So that is curiosity, and that is the beginning. Now we have imagination. Imagination for me was more difficult, and in fact, to imagine, I began being very concrete. Imagination is really our ability to see new possibilities. And in this case, in our 10-year goal, our long-term goal, it is to see new possibilities in our life. My imagination was weak. So I started with, if I were to create my ideal wardrobe, what would it be? If money were no object, what would I buy? That was the first thing I started with. I also then started playing with, when I look at my house that I am living in, if I were to make it better, or if I were to build a new house, what would I change? And I started looking and finding specific things in my house that I would like, oh, I would redo it this way. That's where I started. It was really quite concrete. And that, though, is imagination. Imagination is that ability to view something into the future and see it differently. I now, over time, that's where I started. Now, over the last, probably 7 or 8 years that I've really been intentional with my curiosity and my imagination, I now have designed the home of my dreams, my future home. It took me a long time before I could start with a blank slate and I could actually create something. Start. The only way that we get better at anything, the only way that we build skills is we must start. And frequently when we start something, we're not that good at it. Our 10-year goal, it begins with curiosity and imagination. So step 1 in creating a long-term goal for our life is to spark our curiosity and our imagination. How would you rate your curiosity and your imagination? Are you like me, that at least one of the two is a little on the weak side? Give it a little bit of thought and then decide, what are you going to do? Change your route? Try a new recipe? Imagine something you'd want to change in your house? Maybe, what shoes would you buy? What would your garage look like if you could design your ideal garage? Perhaps it's a car. You get the idea. Spending a bit of time building and strengthening our curiosity and our imagination has many benefits across our lives. And this really is the first step to creating a long-term goal for our lives.